Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and welcome to week 5 of the Chaos Watch, and we are well and truly into the league now, and lots of people, they're saying, you can't make money anymore, all the good strategies are dried up. Have they nerfed something? Is bossing still profitable? Well, we're here to answer all those questions, and I'm going to stack you guys up with plenty of strategies on how you guys can still get plenty rich this late into the league. Let's get started with the infamous bossing section. So it's a bit of a myth that you can't make money bossing after like the first week, and we're here to debunk that. So we have the numbers, we've put in all of the results. Let's take a look at what's profitable this week. So Shaper, as always, will be profitable. As we move further and further into the league, there's going to be a greater and greater emphasis on end game items and chase items. Now, the reason that Shaper and Elder are so profitable still, and will continue to be so profitable, is the Watcher's Eye. The Watcher's Eye is one of the ultimate chase items in PoE. Every character wants one, and they are very pricey to get the one you want. So when one does finally drop, you can basically bet that you're going to get a massive payday. So why is Shaper profitable because of that? Well, Shaper is guaranteed profit due to the fact he drops the more expensive half of the Uber Elder set. He drops the Shape and Knowledge fragments, which are you're guaranteed to get at least one of. Each of these is worth about 70 chaos each, and your buy-in cost is only 30 chaos, so as always, Shaper is guaranteed profit. You cannot possibly lose money on Shaper, and you're going to bake about a 40C profit pretty much every time. So if you're looking for a safe farm, chuck on some movies and you've got a character that can do it, Shaper is going to net you some nice cash. Let's move on to Maven now. So we haven't covered Maven on the Chaos Watch yet, and that is because, in my opinion, as a farm, she is a little bit risky. She does yield a fairly good return on average, but she is also a quick fight, all these things going in her favor. The downside being that if you do not get the Maven Orb, you're looking at a massive loss. And you only get the Maven Orb about 1 in 4 Maven kills. So pretty much no Maven Orb, no money. If you go on a 10 streak without any Maven Orb, you could be in a little bit of trouble. Then you're relying on some good luck streaks to get back into the green. So, if you're up for a bit of a gamble, the Maven can make you rich, or she could make you dead broke. So, if you like a bit of a risk, give her a go, but you can make more money on average per run from the Shaper, and it's guaranteed. So the Maven, definitely a bit risky, but she will always continue to be profitable as she drops another one of the ultimate chase items in the game, the Maven's Orb. The Maven's Orb is used by advanced players to craft some of the best items in the game, and the demand for this item will only increase as we get further and further into the league, and people try and keep pushing their characters further and further to the limits. So I definitely don't see any way or shape or form that Shaper or Maven will not be profitable for the rest of the league. Of course, we'll continue to cover them, and we'll continue to talk about which one's best to farm, but right now, Shaper's looking pretty good. Let's move on to Elder, the other profitable endgame boss to farm right now. So I'm going to assume that we're all at a stage where we can maybe get to, or work our way into getting the Gaze into the Abyss Uncharted Realm talent. So this thing is going to essentially increase your margins and profitability on both Elder and Uber Elder. So as we talked about earlier, the Watcher's Eye is one of the ultimate chase items for a lot of players. And as a result, farming Watcher's Eyes and putting them into the economy, of course, will be a profitable endeavor. So right now, I would recommend that you sell your Watcher's Eyes unidentified. And what I've gone and done is check the price of unID'd Watcher's Eyes here. At the time of this video, they're about 2 exalts for a normal Watcher's Eye, 2 modifiers, and 6.8 exalts or 6.7 exalts, for a unID'd 3 mod Watcher's Eye. So you can see here that I've punched in the numbers for these different Watcher's Eyes. I've kind of overridden the PoE Ninja kind of price here, and I've punched in the unID'd Watcher's Eye price, and that gives us the profitability numbers if you were to sell under those circumstances. So Elder, normal Elder, a fairly quick fight to get through, and you're going to net about 37.8 chaos profit per Elder you slay. On average, you're going to get a Watcher's Eye every 1 in 3 to 1 in 3 and a bit. elders that you kill, and that's going to be fairly consistent. It's kind of similar to the Maven, but you do have a few things in there which will mitigate your risk in the form of, you know, the Elder Fragment, which you're going to guarantee get 15 chaos back on your 50 investment. You know, so you can mitigate your risk a little bit that way, and also the chance of getting the chase item to sell is significantly higher, so it's a less risky Maven farm in my opinion, and I would argue the boss fight is much easier. If you want to go a bit higher in terms of the risk factor and also the reward factor, you can also choose to farm Uber Elder. Uber Elder is coming in at the most profitable boss to farm right now at 74 chaos on average per run, and that is because of the whopping price of un-ID 3 mod Watcher's Eyes. Again, it's that chase item everyone wants, and farming it, of course, will be a profitable endeavor. So very, very nice there. Uber Elder, definitely going to be a good one to farm up some big cash. You know, if you're doing 10 of them an hour, you know, you're averaging like 740 chaos, you know, that's 7.4 exalts an hour. So, you know, if you can churn through those Uber Elders and sell those eyes, you know, you're looking at making quite a bit of chaos, you know, for your character there. So super duper nice. All right. Let's move on to a different section now. Let's move on to the Guardians. So, of course, as Guardians are part of the big Maven machine where it all funnels up into the Maven Orb, which is this big chase item, and you know, it also funnels over into the Uber Elder kind of farm where you can get the Watcher's Eye and stuff like that. Guardians, as a component of those two farms, will continue to be profitable for the rest of the league, in my opinion. And we can see here that we've actually seen an increase in the cost of their fragments, meaning they're actually more profitable than they ever have been. So, you know, if you're looking to make a bit of cash and you're a boss killer, you know, definitely pretty good there. Still consistently very, very nice. Now, if you wanted to take things further though, well, we've got a bit of a new section here which we can take a bit of a dive into. So we've done some full analysis on these invitations. We have a big slab of information here for you guys to take a look at for now and all the time in the future. So we can see here that we have the individual price of each invitation, so how much you can gain from just running an invitation, but we also now have the full run kind of profitability of each of them. So how much you can expect to make if you ran a full set of Guardians and then the invitation, how much would you look at kind of be making? So if you ran the formed right now with the allied node being this one on the tree here, Guardian's Aid, you would be looking at making an exalt on average, pretty much guaranteed, I might add, every single run you do. And something interesting is that this is not including the price of the craftable watchstones that drop and you can sell for anywhere between, you know, 7 to 20 chaos. So those drop, you know, you get about 2 on average from traditional invitations. So the formed, the hidden, you know, the twisted, they drop about 2 on average. And then the feared can drop 3, which is particularly rewarding. So very nice there. Those aren't included in these figures, and you can add them on yourself for some extra profit. But excluding all those watchstones, you're looking at making about an exalt profit per set of Guardians and the form that you run. You know, if you can take it down and you can do it quickly, you're looking at making a lot of extra chaos just from adopting the Guardian strategy. And of course, this is persistent throughout each of the different invitations. You can see we've got different permutations of each of the invitations, but we've also got 3 that we've got here kind of noted. We've got the hidden, the formed, and the feared. Let's go over the formed and the hidden for now. So if I had to choose between the two, even though the formed comes out ahead, I would actually recommend running the hidden. So the hidden is particularly good because you can run breach stones so quickly. Guardian maps definitely do take a little bit of time, especially for some like Chimera, and they can take an extended duration of time to run that and set it up, whereas breach stones you can get through very, very quickly. Breach stones are also incredibly easy, and if you can take down those breach lords in the invitation, you're looking at making quite a lot of currency. Now, remember, one little thing here is that all this data is recorded assuming you're rolling your invitations to 70% quantity plus. That is very important. However, another little bit of gravy for you guys is that the maps and all the other stuff that drops in those Guardian maps or in those breach stones is not included. So that is definitely a few points in the favor of Guardians, as you can, get other maps that you can sell to other players, and those can be quite lucrative as well if you have enough of them. So very good. Let's move on to the Feared though, as a lot of people are starting to get pretty interested in it. If your character is up to the task, how much can you expect to make from running the Feared? Well, right now, in fact, it's actually not that profitable. The reason for that is that the components to run a Feared invitation are very expensive. If you actually take a look at these components, if you were to run the Feared using all 5 of the different components and bosses, you're actually looking at a massive loss on some of these. Cortex, massive loss. Bestiary, massive loss. And the reason that you don't make much profit from running the Feared is because people are actually running them in groups. If you buddy up with someone, you can actually share the witnessing from these invitations with your friends. So, if you both do Cortex together, you'll both witness that Cortex together. And you can kind of split the costs of each of these maps and also split the profits of them evenly, and you can actually get a lot more value from your Feared invitations. So you can kind of basically double your value, over double your value, because you're halving your expenses, which can be quite good. If you're looking at kind of running the Feared, I definitely recommend buddying up with some friends. Otherwise, you're better off running Guardians or or Breach Lords or something like that. For money, or you can go over and farm Shaper or Uberella. Those will be a more profitable endeavor than farming the Feared. So very interesting there. All right, enough with the bosses. Let's move on. What are we looking at now? Well, let's move on to Bestiary. So Bestiary is a bit of an interesting one. If you're a new player or you're a player just getting into bossing, this is where you should be starting out for some extra Chaos Orbs. If you've got 5C in the bank, 20C in the bank, you should be looking into doing some Bestiary bosses ASAP. So right now, Sakawal and Venomous, still fantastic farms to do. If you're on the lower end of things and you want to make some guaranteed money, you can go ahead and buy some Sakawine Rexes, and you're pretty much up for some cash guaranteed. If you can slay Sakawal, you're gonna make easily 6 chaos guaranteed, doubling your money. And if you're lucky, you're gonna snag a 20C chess piece, and you may also get a few other uniques which you can sell for a few extra chaos, meaning you can get those items that you might need. And Sakawal is a very easy boss to deal with, and if you have a buddy or 2, you can also bring them in and they'll also get a Sakawal, and you can split the costs, similar to that Feed invitation we talked for those more advanced players. So Venomous is also a very profitable endeavor right now. He is a little bit harder than Sakawal, but I would definitely rank him on one of the easier bosses, and he's guaranteed to net you at least 15 chaos profit every single time you do them. Similar to Sakawal, you can bring some buddies in and you can split the costs and make quite a few exalts per hour if you're quick and you have the beasts to do it. So very, very nice there as well. If you're a new player, this is where I would start with the money. Sakawal and Venomous are gonna get you over the line and get you your first few exalts very, very easily, and that's gonna be pretty nice for you guys. All right, now let's move on to Atlas strategies, and then we'll round out with a few extra tips. So Atlas strategies right now are very, very powerful. So kind of playing off the theme of these end game chase items, a lot of these kind of strategies definitely focus around those things. So the first one we're going to talk about here is, of course, Valdo's Rest. Now, we actually have hard figures to go off now for the Valdo's Rest farming. I've done the tests, I've done the science, and we now have a quantitative amount that you can expect to earn from each of these strats. So let's start off with the Valdo's Rest farming strategy. So if you're looking to make some chaos and you're a mapping character and you have a bit of an itch for slaying massive hordes of monsters, and you can get your hands on these 2 Atlas points, you're up for about 8.3 chaos on average per map that you run. So If you look at the breakdown here, where's the money coming from? Well, you're going to get an absolute truckload of ancient orbs on average, and you're also going to net a few exalted orb shards as well, and that all works out to be about 8 chaos per map. You know, if you can get a few maps in per hour, you know, 10 or 20, you know, you're looking at, you know, almost close to 2 exalts per hour, and you can do this as soon as you get those points in Valor's Rest, and tier really doesn't come into it. So you can do it on low tiers, high tiers, you can factor that into any other strategy that you've got going on, and it's going to make you a ton of money, especially if you're a quick mapper. So pretty nice one there. Now, of course, if you want to take this to the next level, you can invest in an auspicious Valor's Rest Platinum Stone, and that will take your profits up quite a nice notch as well. And of course, we always take things fairly conservative here on PoE Profit. This doesn't actually include any of the other drops that you're going to expect from Harbingers, like maps, you know, other currency drops or anything like that. This is guaranteed loot, which is very, very, very objective and conservative that you're going to get every single time. You know, so over, you know, 10 or 20 maps, you can expect results which will reflect these numbers. Very nice indeed. All right, what are we looking at next? Well, let's go back to New Vestia. So, New Vestia, the emblem prices have collapsed. You know, it's not as profitable as it used to be. People are telling me, is it worth it? Should I still go to New Vestia? You know, all sorts of stuff. Well, the numbers don't lie. Even with these lower prices, if you're looking at spending 5.3 on Chaos for a Rusted Scarab, and you're spending 6 Chaos on Zana, you're still guaranteed to make your money back just off Splinters and Incubators alone. And these Incubator prices, we'll talk about them in a second, but I think they're far too low. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But there's pretty much no downside from running Legion in New Vestia. You're going to make an absolute fortune still. The money hasn't really changed. You know, you never really got a lot of your money off of these things anyway. Most of the money is from raw currency drops, like Exalted Orbs, stacked decks, you know, gem cutter prisms, all sorts of stuff like that. The other stuff was just a bonus, and the prices really haven't eroded enough to the point where it's no longer worth it. So very, very good to still get into that New Vestia action, and I would highly recommend it for anyone who can still blow up a full Legion. All right, so we have a newcomer in town. We've got Bestiary now on the block. So Bestiary is one of the most profitable farms in the game, providing you have the correct setup and the right character to do it. So the main thing that matters when you're farming Bestiary is speed. Do you have a character that can do 20 or 30 maps an hour? Well, you might be a bestiary farmer after all. So if you're looking to farm some beasts, let's do a quick run through if you haven't seen the guide on what you'll need. So the most profitable way to farm beasts is using some fairly obtainable watchstones in Lyra Arthane. So if you're looking to farm some beasts, all you'll need to get started is natural selection on the Lyra Arthane talent tree, as well as some titanium watchstones with at least 40% chance for red beasts in areas to be the less common of 2 varieties. If you can't get these, get some lower ones. You're going to have similar results, but if you can get a close to 100% chance between your watchstones and maybe spec into, you know, Secrets of the Stones to make up the difference, you're going to be able to get a ton of really expensive beasts. These are fairly cheap to roll on your own. You know, if you're looking at getting a few exalts together to start this strategy out, it's well worth the time, and it's going to be one of the most lucrative mapping strategies you can get your hands on to add to your maps. So what else do you need to do? So you've got your watchstones, you've got your talent in the tree. All you'll need to do is get some gilded bestiary scarabs, which you can see here about 5.6 chaos each, and get stuck into any kind of map in Lyra Arthane that you want, and just capture the beasts that you see along the way. If you sell them, you're going to make an absolute killing. As you can see here, that a ton of them are worth a lot of money. You know, very, very profitable indeed, and you know, you're going to be able to make some cash back. If you're looking for more information on bestiary farming, definitely go check out my guide, but it is one of the best farms that you can do right now, and you can also, similar to invitations, include friends and do some profit sharing action, and it's definitely going to be fantastic currency per hour. Very nice indeed. All right, so time for a bit of tips. Let's go into incubators. So incubators are something we've been taking a look at here on PoE Profit for a little bit now, and I want to give you guys some tips on how you can make some extra currency off them. So of course we can see the revenue from these things drastically, varies drastically. So we can see here that, you know, foreboding incubators, incredibly powerful right now. Over a sample size of over 100, and you're gonna get about 8.7 kilos back on average. Very, very profitable indeed. And you can buy them right now for 3.8 chaos. You know, if you buy them in bulk, they might cost significantly more. But incubators, as long as you're getting them for a pretty low price, and you're never paying more or really close to the revenue you're expecting here, you're gonna make some extra chaos per map, and it's going to be quite a big money spinner. You know, I've been starting to use these more and more, and I gotta tell you, I'm buying foreboding incubators all day long. You know, if I can net 5 chaos times 11, so 55 chaos, because you're allowed to put an incubator on every one of your pieces of gear, that's an absolute ton of extra currency I'm earning on top of my normal mapping. It's about a half of the Exalt every 10 maps for free. Very nice indeed. And I'm really a big fan of them. So, you know, if you can find some good deals and you can get some incubators and sell the stuff that you get from them, you're looking at some pretty good cash. I'm a pretty big fan of them. So that's tip number 1. Looking at incubators, make sure you get a good deal so you have a bit of a margin in there and you're looking at some good cash. Let's get into tip number 2. So if you're in the end game kind of mapping system and you've got a few things favorited, you know, maybe some popular maps like Dunes, you know, City Square, Park, Atoll, don't just let them sit there in your inventory or in your map stash tab. You know, if you've got like 20 Atolls, you should be selling them, and here's how you do it. Set your map tab to public, you know, check the price on these things, so check that, check bulk, like 20 of them. How many do you have? We'll take a quick look. So, you know, some guy here is selling it for 4-to-1. This guy's selling it for 5-to-1. Let's sell ours 5-to-1 as well. So all you need to do is come in here and type whatever your price is times 10 and 10 maps. And you can sell maps incredibly quickly for getting through that. And every time an atoll drops now, or any of those maps that you favorited, which you don't personally want to run, you can sell them on for some big money. And this is particularly effective in the Valdo's Rest area, as well as the New Bestiary area, where you're farming those legions and farming those harbingers. So very nice there. All of these are incredibly profitable, and farming with the incubators on and then selling those maps on as well is going to be big money. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this week's Chaos Watch. We have seen a massive shift to focus on, you know, kind of chase items, whether that be in the form of, you know, farming Harbingers for Ancient Orbs to get Headhunters, farming Watcher's Eyes, farming those Maven Orbs. But you can see here that all of the economy kind of funnels into getting all these very powerful items for everyone's characters to really improve and push the limits. And I think we'll be seeing more of this in the coming weeks. And of course, if you're a crafter, you're making an absolute ton of money right now, and it's actually something you should investigate if you're interested in that playstyle as well. So with all that said, guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this Chaos Watch, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.